The Christmas Santa truly came. It was December 24th, and the small town of Willow Creek was dusted with snow. The Christmas lights twinkled from every house, and the air smelled of pine and sweet cinnamon. All around, the holiday spirit hung like a fog in the air. But for 10-year-old Max Anders, it wasn't just any Christmas Eve. This year, he was certain that something extraordinary would happen. Max had always believed in Santa Claus. For him, the magic was real. There was no question about it. He could picture it clearly. The reindeer soaring across the moonlit sky, Santa's sleigh landing softly on rooftops, and the old man in the red suit, with his jolly laugh and twinkling eyes, slipping gifts under the tree. His friends, however, didn't share his belief. "You're still believing in Santa, Max?" "You're so dull," Ethan, his best friend, had said a few days ago. Max tried not to show it, but the words stung. Ethan and the others had been teasing him for months, saying Santa was just a story. Max hated how they made him feel like he was childish for believing. But there was something deep inside him, a feeling in his chest, that told him that the magic of Christmas wasn't just a fairy tale. At home, Max's mom, Mrs. Anders, always reassured him. "Santa will come, Max. He knows who's been good." But now, with Christmas just a day away, Max was starting to wonder. He had always gotten gifts on Christmas morning, but maybe it wasn't because of Santa. Maybe it was just his parents putting them there. His mom had noticed the change in his mood. Max wasn't the same bright-eyed boy he'd been the year before. He seemed quieter, less sure of everything. So, that evening, as she tucked him into bed, she decided to talk to him. "You still believe in Santa, don't you?" she asked, smoothing back his hair. Max shrugged. "I don't know, Mom. Ethan says I'm just dreaming. Maybe I am." She smiled softly and kissed his forehead. "Santa knows who's been good, Max. And if you believe in the magic, you'll see it. Christmas is about more than presents. It's about hope, kindness, and the spirit of giving. That's what makes it real." Max nodded, but he wasn't sure. He still wanted to believe, but doubt crept in, like a shadow in the corner of his mind. Christmas Day arrived, and the world outside was blanketed in snow. Max was awake early, as he always was on Christmas morning, but he didn't rush downstairs to see what gifts Santa had left. Instead, he sat in his room, his eyes glued to the frosted window. He wondered if this would be the year that he finally figured out the truth. Would he see Santa? Or was it all just a story? His mom called from downstairs. "Max, come down. It's Christmas." Max sighed, trying to shake the feeling of disappointment that had settled over him. He had hoped for something magical. He had hoped that Santa would prove him right, that all the wonder he felt deep inside would finally make sense. But now he wasn't so sure. Still, he pulled on his slippers and trudged downstairs, the smell of cinnamon rolls and fresh coffee filling the air. His family was gathered around the tree, where the twinkling lights reflected off the shiny ornaments. But for Max, it felt ordinary. "Look, Max," his mom said, pointing to the tree. "Santa came." Max glanced at the tree, but all he saw were the neatly wrapped presents. He smiled weakly, but it wasn't the same as before. Not like when he was younger, when every gift was a sign of the magic of Christmas. His mom caught his gaze. "What's wrong, sweetie? You don't look excited." Max sighed and looked down at the floor. "I don't know, Mom. I thought Santa would do something more. I thought he would show up like he always does in the stories." Mrs. Anders knelt down in front of him, taking his hands in hers. "Max, the magic isn't just in Santa. It's in the way we share love and joy with each other. Santa may not always be in the room with us, but his spirit is." Max stared at her, unsure of what to say. I guess I just wanted to believe in something bigger." "And you should," she said softly. "You should always believe in the good, Max. That's the real magic." Later that afternoon, Max went outside. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the yard. He sat down on the porch swing, wrapping his coat tighter around him. The cold air nipped at his face, and the quiet of the world around him felt almost like a dream. He closed his eyes and imagined reindeer soaring through the sky, their hooves tapping against the clouds. He imagined Santa laughing, his belly shaking like a bowl full of jelly. Max felt a spark of hope, as though he could feel the magic, just on the edge of his thoughts. Suddenly, he heard something. A soft crunching sound, like footsteps in the snow. Max's heart skipped a beat. He opened his eyes, his breath coming out in little puffs of mist. And there, standing at the end of the driveway, was a tall figure in a red suit. A jolly man with a long white beard and a sack slung over his shoulder. Max froze. Could it really be? Ho ho ho, came the booming voice. Santa! Max jumped to his feet, eyes wide with excitement. Santa was real. He was standing right there in front of him, smiling and waving. Max could hardly believe it. His heart raced as he rushed toward him. Santa! Max shouted, running toward the man. The figure turned, grinning widely. Merry Christmas, young man. Max stopped in front of him, breathing heavily. I knew you'd come. I really did. Santa bent down, holding out a gift with a sparkly bow. I have something special for you, Max. You've been a very good boy this year. Max's hands trembled as he took the present. Thank you, Santa. Thank you so much. Now, you take care of that spirit of Christmas, Santa said with a wink, and remember, it's not about the presents, but about the love we share. Merry Christmas, Mac. And just like that, Santa turned and walked away, his footsteps fading into the snow. Max stood there, staring in awe. He clutched the gift to his chest, feeling the warmth of the magic fill him up. Santa had come. He had come. But as the man in the red suit disappeared into the distance, Max couldn't help but notice one thing. He didn't see any reindeer. There was no sleigh. No sound of hooves. Just the crunch of boots in the snow. Later that evening, Max sat with his family, unwrapping the gift from Santa. It was a beautiful wooden toy train set, just like the one he had asked for. His mom smiled as she watched him play with it, but Max couldn't stop thinking about the figure in the red suit. Something about the whole thing felt familiar. The way Santa had spoken, his laugh, even the way he had walked. It all felt so warm and comforting, like something he had seen before. And then it hit him. Max's eyes widened. Could it be? He stood up suddenly, his heart racing. Mom, I think I know who Santa really is. His mom looked at him with a raised eyebrow. What do you mean, Max? Max ran to the window and looked outside. There, standing in the shadows of the tree, was the same figure he had seen earlier. Only now, he could see clearly. It was his grandpa, dressed in the red suit, laughing and waving. Max's mouth dropped open. Grandpa! His mom chuckled softly and walked to the door, opening it to reveal Grandpa, still wearing the Santa suit. Looks like someone figured it out. Max blinked in surprise. Grandpa? You're Santa. Grandpa laughed, his belly shaking. I guess I am, kiddo. But don't worry. The real magic of Christmas comes from believing in the love we share. That's something that can't be faked. Max grinned. I knew it. I knew Santa was real. And so do I, Grandpa said, giving him a hug. Merry Christmas, Mac. As Max hugged his grandpa, he realized that the magic of Christmas wasn't about whether Santa came down the chimney. It was about the people you loved, the spirit of kindness, and the joy of giving. And that night, Max fell asleep with a heart full of magic, knowing that no matter what, Christmas would always be real. Max's friends, who had once teased him for believing in Santa, would never understand the magic he felt that night. But Max didn't care. He had learned that the best kind of magic comes from the love we share, from the joy we give, and from believing in something greater than ourselves. And as for Santa, well, he would always have a place in Max's heart, just as the magic of Christmas would.